Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war?
On news.com Australia, it says right there, we are star people. Scientific proof we were created by aliens. Alright, that's pretty huge, right? So let's pull this down a little bit. You can see right there, the picture they have on there is from Prometheus, the movie Prometheus. And I was really drawn to this because just a few weeks ago I did my own video on the fallen angels, and in that video I had some clips from Prometheus, because if you haven't seen it yet, this isn't really a spoiler alert, I guess, because it's a pretty interesting movie, but it's full of all kinds of symbolism, occult type stuff, but primarily it's about two stories. It's about the story of the fallen angels from the Bible mixing their DNA with ours, and it also has to do with the ancient astronauts. So they kind of mix the two together. And the ancient astronauts, that goes back to Ancient Aliens, a really popular show out there. I've seen a few episodes on YouTube myself. More than a few, actually. I've seen quite a bit. It's really interesting stuff, but even when watching it, one thing I noticed is they never drew a connection to the Bible or the fallen angels. On the episodes I saw, at least. There might be some out there, but I never saw it. And it's the whole idea that they're pushing, again, that these are going to be alien visitors, okay? I mean, this is coming. We all know there's a lot of wild stuff happening in the world right now. You can check out my channel. Try to show you some of the stuff happening. There's a lot of other great channels out there doing the same thing. You just have to open your eyes up to it. You have to be able to receive this stuff, have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, and just really start questioning things in the mainstream. Once you turn away from that, start finding alternative sources, you'll start seeing a bigger picture to kind of what's happening. So anyway, yes, so this is some pretty wild stuff. Okay, Prometheus, mix the two stories. We have ancient aliens, which I think is very deceptive in a very small way, but that's always the most powerful lie, isn't it? When you give like 95% truth, but you hold back that little 5%. That's usually the way they do, and that's the best kind of a lie, and I think that's kind of what Ancient Aliens is doing. Again, they're preparing us for these things being aliens and not fallen angels, okay? So I'll just read a little bit down here. It's got a lot of science mumbo-jumbo, a lot of big words, so I'm just going to read a little bit here. But it says, don't be alarmed, but you have alien DNA in your genetic code. Science says so. Scientists from Kazakhstan believe that human DNA was encoded with an extraterrestrial signal by an ancient alien civilization. And it also has Discovery.com there, excuse me, as another source. And it says they call it biological SETI, and their researchers claim that the mathematical code in human DNA cannot be explained by evolution. So, ruh-roh, that's probably going to ruffle some feathers out there. But anyway, you can check out the rest of that article if you like. For me, it really wasn't so much about the article as it is about the headline. We are star people, scientific proof we were created by aliens. They're going to start pushing this more and more. This is the first story I've seen on it, but I'm sure this is going to become a very common thing. We're going to start seeing this idea more and more as this great deception approaches. And I don't know exactly how the deception is going to play out. I don't know if they're going to be presented as good guys or bad guys, but we'll get to some of that in a second. So I'm going to jump over here and just read a little bit, just so you can kind of see. This is straight up from Ancient Aliens theory from the show. And it says that it ponders the possibility that our ancestors mistakenly took advanced extraterrestrial beings, quote, ancient aliens, to be supernatural gods who descended from the heavens. Here we look at the biblical account of Noah's Ark and explore the possibility that perhaps ancient aliens were the direct influence of the creation of the infamous seafaring vessel, Noah's Ark. So right there you have it. I mean, you can go on on that. And again, if you're familiar with the show, you already know this is kind of what they push out there. But that's the idea they're putting, is that, when these things come down, they're going to deceive a lot of people. There's some of us out here that know what's coming. We know this is all demonic, all right? It's a big part of a great deception. But, again, many people are going to fall, and that's just the way it is, unfortunately. They don't have to, but I'm sure many will. So I'm going to go and jump back here for a second and show you one more cool little connection I found. So right here it says, the very first paragraph, scientists from Kazakhstan. Okay, so Kazakhstan, that stood out to me. I'd read about Kazakhstan in the past, put a little video of it in the movie I actually made called The Scariest Movie Ever Made is in there, about the Illuminati and all that stuff. So here's your Illuminati connection, okay, to this whole story. I guess it wouldn't be one of my videos if there wasn't some kind of Illuminati stuff in there, at least every now and then. So, Sinister Sites, Astana, Kazakhstan. It's on the Vigilant Citizen. You should check this site out if you're interested in Illuminati research and occult research. But just a little bit of stuff right here. This is where the scientists were, and this is the Pyramid of Peace. You can see, and some other random pyramids. But inside they have all the sun symbol stuff and the sun worship. They got like a tree of life thing going on down here. There's a whole story, and I won't get into the whole thing, but I just thought that was another kind of interesting connection right there. So let's go ahead and jump over here now for a little bit. Another thing that's been going on for a long time is that we've all been conditioned. We're being programmed to accept this stuff when it comes, and it really started way back in the 50s with television. I mean, I'm sure it started before then in its own way, but TV really launched the initiative, really pushed forth the propaganda. I mean, look at the golden age of television in the 50s and look at the kind of stuff that was coming out. I'm sure your dads, grandpas, uncles, aunts, whoever, the older folk in your life are probably down with a lot of these old school 50s cheesy sci-fi movies with UFOs and funny looking aliens and all that, and you might be too. I like some of it as well. But that all really started in the 50s, and there was tons of it. Lots of propaganda, or at least I see it as propaganda, or conditioning, or predictive programming, or social engineering. But lots of programming back then about these aliens and UFOs. Okay, it started then, and it's only grown since. And like I said, I don't know exactly how it's all going to play out. Because on one side we're shown E.T., which was a good little alien, and we're shown Paul, which was a cool little stoner alien, I guess. And on the other side you've got, like Battle Los Angeles and stuff like this, where they're bad guys and trying to kill us. So I guess there's a few scenarios that could play out. One could be maybe they'll be our saviors. As our world gets closer to World War III, and we're right on the brink, guys, you've got to see that. Maybe they'll launch. Maybe we'll all start to kill each other, and next thing you know, these things are going to come down and stop the missiles, and they're going to be your saviors. That's a possibility. The other possibility is a fake alien invasion. What if they come down? What if it's even Project Bluebeam? That they could be doing that as well. Our government, look that up if you're not familiar with what that is. But or it could be the real aliens, the fallen angels, the Nephilim. And when I talk about those guys, generally, I've got a lot of videos on this stuff as well on my backup channel, Scariest Movie Ever 111, where I show a lot of these things, and I believe it's all part of the deception, okay? And it's usually these energy orb type UFOs we're seeing way more and more. So much so even in 2012, there were more reported UFOs in 2012 than any time in history. So that's crazy stuff. So let's show you some of this propaganda here.
Who would Americans want in the White House if we faced an alien invasion? According to a new National Geographic Channel poll, 65% of Americans would pick President Obama to deal with that planet being threatened in such a situation, and they would pick him over Mitt Romney. That same poll found 80 million Americans are certain UFOs exist, and 79% think the government has kept information about UFOs.
Last night at the Grammys was, and what we've been doing with the egg and the rebirth, it's meant to signify an artistic statement of birthing a new race, and it's a race with no prejudice, a race within the race of humanity that bears no prejudice against anyone. So that's really the statement in itself.
So there's that, guys, and in the Bible it also says that in the end times, before Jesus comes back, it'll be as in the days of Noah. That goes back to the fallen angels mating with the women here on earth, mixing their DNA, and then God bringing the flood to cleanse the world, okay? So the question is, are we in those times again? Is that what's happening here? And one more thing.
My people have developed technologies which allow us to throw off our physical forms and travel great distances in the blink of an eye. We are in dialogue with your leaders to help the human race survive its infancy, for we believe in you. We are helping your scientists find cures for diseases which afflict your bodies, and helping you to preserve your planet's most precious resources. Many among us wage peace, and one day, with our help, war may be a thing of the past. Our army is 1 billion strong and growing. We will bring you a cure for many known diseases. We will provide technology that will change the way you live. We will bring peace to every nation on your planet. We are the visitors. We are of peace, always.
The senior Vatican scientist said that he would be delighted if we encountered intelligent aliens and would be happy to baptize them. His pronouncement opens up the possibility of space missionaries heading out to the stars to convert aliens to Christianity.
Did the Vatican find alien life?
You know what? As sensationalistic as that question sounds, it's really not that far off from what we've seen in the news.
An incredible story coming out of the Vatican. Listen to this. The senior Vatican scientist said that he would be delighted if we encountered intelligent aliens and would be happy to baptize them. His pronouncement opens up the possibility of space missionaries heading out to the stars to convert aliens to Christianity.
What's up, guys? As I hear more and more about this Vatican and UFOs and aliens, I just decided to research a little bit more myself and talking about a great deception that's coming not just to the Catholic Church, the Vatican, but to all religions. And even this article talks about it. Can religion survive a UFO reality? Well, when you've studied it at long length, Genesis, the Nephilim, the fallen angels, you'll soon realize that these aliens are fallen angels, coming to deceive the whole world. Even the very elect will be deceived. Jesus said, as in the days of Noah, so shall my return be. But if you go down here and just read some of this stuff, one of the leading guys, his name is Father Funes, and they ask him about would it contradict the Vatican faith. He goes on to say, it's created uproar, but if ET exists, they are God's creatures. No, they're God's fallen angels. And I can just see a great deception coming in the future. I just see it building up among all religions.
We may never discover the famous alien ET, but it may surprise a lot of you. It did certainly surprise a lot of us. The Vatican is looking to the heavens for signs of life.
Yes, David. 400 years after the church locked up Galileo for challenging the view that the Earth was the center of the universe, the Catholic Church is exploring if life exists elsewhere in the universe. And astronomers, physicists, and priests are in Rome this week to debate the age-old question, if we are, or are we, really alone?
We probably won't be seeing aliens at Mass anytime soon, but the Vatican's chief astronomer does say that there could exist other forms of life outside Earth. And he says if they do exist, they are God's creatures.
Here's some more stuff that he said. The extraterrestrial is my brother. And you can go and read this, and it talks about where we come forth with the stars, and you can read all this stuff. But talking about a great deception. They even talk about baptized aliens and everything else. And even going over to their own telescope, place out in Nevada, I think, or Arizona. But the name of the telescope is Lucifer, and when you see the reasoning behind why they call it Lucifer, it's very lame. For any church to be associated with this name, especially looking at the stars, here's the telescope, and look at this verse. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? You know, it just... Where's the common sense here? Why would you name a telescope Lucifer that's looking out to the heavens for fallen angels?
Friend Chris Putnam. We are at the base of Mount Graham, and we are on our way to the Vatican's Astronomical Technology Telescope. Oh, so we just received secret information.
Secret information.
So the Lucifer instrument is actually an instrument they use to gather infrared light. It is the largest telescope in the world. This first station is an instrument called Lucifer. This is the sort of device they use in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Hundreds of thousands of people around the world believe, as all aliens do, that we were created by advanced scientists from another planet who made us in their image. Those extraterrestrial creators mentioned in the Bible as the Elohim have continued throughout history to monitor our progress and have also sent us messengers, including Jesus, the Buddha, Mohammed, and a few dozen others throughout the centuries. Each messenger brought humanity a message appropriate for the level of human understanding prevailing at the time. Our current level of knowledge prompted our extraterrestrial creators to send one last messenger, Rael. His mission is to tell human beings the truth about our origins and to communicate our creators' desire to meet with us, accompanied by all the ancient prophets they will bring with them, as announced in various religions and traditional scriptures found on all continents. But before the Elohim officially visit us, we must build an embassy in a world of peace, which will become the third temple predicted in ancient writings.
They look like us because they created us in their image, like the Bible explains. And these people came on the earth a very long time ago. They built big laboratories, and in these laboratories, thanks to DNA and genetic combination, they created all life on earth. It means trees, animals, and man in their image. The original Bible, you can find one very easily. It's not written the first day God did that, but the first day Elohim did that. The second day Elohim did that. And in Hebrew, Elohim means those who came from the sky. They asked me if possible to build this embassy near Jerusalem, because it's for them a very important place. They had, the first laboratory was made, the Garden of Eden is in the Bible, was near Jerusalem. It's up to us. We have the choice. They are not invaders. They respect us. So they will come only if we want to welcome them. And the people who are ready will help you. We don't need to convince all the mankind. We cannot convince all the mankind. And you cannot convince. Jesus couldn't, Moses couldn't, Muhammad couldn't. So you have just to find the right people, they are at the right place to bring them together and they will help you. We already are 20,000 and we will build this embassy.
Such is the mission of Rael and those who have decided to help him, the members of the International Raelian Movement. Your country could be the host of this embassy and benefit from the tens of billions of dollars that it will bring in additional revenue. The host country will also forever have the prestige of being the one who dared welcome those who created us, and in doing so, will offer a very great service to humanity. The host country will need to grant the Raelian Movement a very small amount of land, approximately 4 square kilometers, for the purpose of building a peace-loving embassy where the residents and visitors will have privacy and diplomatic neutrality. The country granting the necessary extraterritoriality and authorization for the embassy to be built within its territory will not only benefit financially, but enjoy the protection of the Elohim. It will become the spiritual and scientific center of the planet for millennia to come, and happiness will prevail within its borders. This can be your country. To know more about the Elohim Embassy project, please contact us at ElohimEmbassy.org.
In the next 50,000 or so years, the technology and our knowledge is going to increase at a rate which will require, I feel, larger brains with denser, more folds. And so that's why the head, I feel, is going to grow larger. Larger eyes is because I believe we are running out of space on this planet, and the inevitable solution is going to be off-planet, first exploration and then colonization, and then eventually people are going to spend entire lifetimes never having visited home planet. And so with living further away, you get less light, and as such, evolution is going to select for larger eyes, and later on, when we do have the capability of engineering our own genomes, we will keep that trait due to functional reasons.
Okay, what we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, I'm sorry, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Discharge.
I started getting...
Dr. J. Allen Hynek explains one alternative theory that we might be dealing with something from another dimension.
One of the most intriguing aspects of UFO sightings is their apparent isolation in space and time. Sightings are usually made in one place at a time and last for short periods, sometimes appearing out of nowhere and vanishing into nowhere. This is much more suggestive of a parallel reality than, let's say, visits from some faraway planet, in which case we might expect them to stick around for a while.
The British journal Flying Saucer Review was established in 1955 and is widely recognized. UFO researcher John Weldon then offers this question. How credible is it to think that literally thousands of genuine extraterrestrials would fly millions of light years simply to teach New Age philosophy, deny Christianity, and support the occult? And why would the entities actually possess and inhabit people just like demons do if they were really advanced extraterrestrials? Dr. Pierre Guérin, an eminent scientist associated with the French National Council for Scientific Research, concludes that UFO behavior is more akin to magic than to physics as we know it, and that modern UFOnauts and the demons of past days are probably identical. The word demon in Greek comes from the root meaning knowledge or intelligence, implying that demons have access to knowledge and information denied to ordinary mortals.
After what happened to me, the community experiences, I decided that that might be a good idea to accept the idea of the devil just in case that's what I saw. If you look closely at the life of the world, you see the workings of evil in the world. There seems to be a sort of machinery behind it that is far beyond just the accident of human life.
Every region of our planet. In Japan, emperors claim descent from dragon gods who came from the sky. Australian Aborigines teach of a reptilian race which lives underneath the earth and governs over men. They believe they are descendants of a race of dragon human. China teaches the serpent queen Nukua interbred with man. India calls these reptilian gods Nagas and claim they seeded their royal families. Throughout the Middle East, it is believed a serpent race created man. The book of Genesis tells of giants who came from the heavens to breed with the daughters of man. They are called the Nephilim. In Africa, they call them Chitari, children of the serpent. The royal kings of Africa claim descent from serpent gods who came from the sky. In South America, the Mayans teach that their ancestors were the people of the serpent. The Aztecs were said to be created by a serpent woman. In America, the Hopi Indians believe sky gods came to Earth to breed with their women and refer to them as their snake brothers. The word Sioux means snakes, and Iroquois means serpents. It seems the only